Hi, this is Deborah Lyman, and this is my final reflection vlog for EdTech 533, YouTube in the Classroom. So the first thing that I want to address is the amount of information that I learned this semester. When I started the semester, I just understood YouTube to be something that I could use to show students quick videos. I never really saw it as anything more than a video sharing tool. What I didn't realize is the power that there was in creating playlists. I didn't understand the power of having a video that you created yourself that met your standards and the needs of your students. My students have loved watching videos of me. And the other thing I didn't realize is that you could create interactive videos. These types of videos that could allow students to have quests, the students who need remediation. You can have links to videos based on their needs and whether or not they understood a question and need to review it. And these were all great things that I learned while I was in this class. So how I view YouTube now versus how I viewed it at the beginning of the semester is that I now realize YouTube is much more than just a video sharing tool. It is an opportunity that I have as an educator to use video in my classroom to enhance the learning process, whether that's through creating a playlist and having students follow the directions on that playlist, or if it is through creating an interactive video that students are able to be engaged with and to be able to have a learning path that meets their individual needs, or whether it's using videos in centers or in my classroom to help students to be able to understand a concept that I'm teaching clearer. So some of the ways that I have started using YouTube in my classroom is that I've been using it as a centers tool. So my students sometimes need remediation, sometimes they need acceleration. And what I have found is that the YouTube videos make it possible for me to be able to meet those needs of those students and maximizing those precious moments that you have with students. This gives them a double whammy. I can reteach them, a video can reteach them, and they're able to get the information from a variety of sources to help them understand. I can also pre-teach concepts. If I'm going to teach something about least common multiple the next day, I can show a video really quick at the last minute at the end of class that shows students what we're going to learn the next day, and it gives them a little bit of an insight into what we're going to do. From this class, I actually used a couple of the things. I used the playlist that I created for the water cycle with my students, and they loved it. They were able to go home, show their parents what they were doing in class, and the other teachers on our team really enjoyed it as well. One of the other videos that I used in the class was the green screen special effect video. The students loved seeing me in that video. They thought that was the best thing they had ever seen in their lives. I also showed the rules video that I created that was the educational video remix. And the students got a big kick out of that because I created it with my class in mind. It meant something to them because it had been created for them. As part of this class, we have also been addressing several of the AECT standards for educational technology in the classroom. I chose 3 assignments that I wanted to discuss in detail with the AECT standards, and those were the playlist, the PowerPoint movie, and the interactive video. All of these addressed the same standards, and these are the standards that they addressed. They addressed 1.1, which is instructional systems and design. This talks about instructional systems design is an organized procedure that includes the steps of analyzing, designing, developing, implementing, and evaluating instruction. Within the applications of this definition, design is interpreted at both the micro and macro level, in that it describes the systems approach and is a step within the systems approach. The importance of process as opposed to product is emphasized in instructional design. These were all part of these videos that I created. In the playlist, it was important that you created a process to go along with the final product. It wasn't just an end video that I created. It was the lesson that went along with it. In the PowerPoint, It was more than just a PowerPoint with a bunch of words. It was creating a process for students that they were able to envision what I was teaching. They were able to see a visual that went along with whatever the concept was that I was trying to teach the students. And in the interactive video, it was more about the process that the students went with to get to the end of the video. Now, for my interactive video, I chose to do a tutorial for adults on the Common Core standards. This met this because in this instructional video, it was showing the process of using the mathematical practices. The second standard that these met was message design. Message design involves planning of the manipulation of the physical form of the message. This message design is embedded within learning theories such as cognitive, psychomotor, behavioral, perceptual, affective, and constructivist. And it's in the application of known principles of attention, perception, and retention, which are intended to communicate with the learner. This subdomain is specific to both the medium selected and the learning task. So here in these three, on all three of them, the medium that I chose to use was a video. This medium helped to design a lesson for the students in that it was, the whole point of it was retention, being able to rewatch that video so they can continue to learn what they're doing. It's helping the students to pay attention to what you're doing. It's making sure that when you do the playlist, we use the cognitive, affective, and psychomotor domains. So these were all ways that we met the message design. And the next standard we met was 1.3, which was instructional strategies. Instructional strategies are specifications for selecting and sequencing events and activities within a lesson. In practice, instructional strategies interact with learning situations. The results of these interactions are often described by instructional models. The appropriate selection of instructional strategies and instructional models depends upon the learning situation, including learner characteristics, the nature of the content, and the type of the learner objective. Again, these three activities all met this because it was all about interacting with the students and their learning situations. We're able to use the video to teach a concept, and it is part of a greater lesson. It's not just the final say-all, that they don't just watch the video and they're done. The strategy is that you have a video to help supplement what you are teaching. And it's understanding the learner's characteristics, which is the next standard that it meant, which was the learner characteristics are those facets of the learner's experiential background that impact the effectiveness of the learning process. Learner characteristics impact specific components of instruction during the selection and implementation of instructional strategies. For example, motivation research influences the selection and implementation of instructional strategies based upon the identified learning characteristics. Learner characteristics interact with instructional strategies, the learning situation, and the nature of the content. These three lessons and three assignments that we did, where we created a playlist, a PowerPoint movie, and an interactive video, all take into consideration learners' characteristics. One of the biggest ways that I think that this meets those expectations is that I created the video with the learner in mind. I looked at my 6th grade students and I said, this is what they need to know, and this is how I want them to learn it. So by creating my own videos, I was able to really keep in mind who the learner was, what I wanted them to gain from that, and where I wanted them to go with it. And it really helped to be able to design those videos on my own instead of just using somebody else's videos. The next standard that it meant is the audiovisual technologies. Audiovisual technologies are ways to produce or deliver materials by using mechanical devices or electronic machines to present auditory and visual messages. Audiovisual technologies are generally linear in nature, represent real and abstract ideas, and allow for learner interactivity depending on teacher application. Well, the interactive video definitely allows for learner interactivity. If they understood one of the mathematical practices, they could skip over it and go to the next one. In the playlist, they were generally linear in nature. There was some lessons to go with each of them, questions for students to answer, and it was a very linear in nature. The PowerPoint movie that I created was mostly meant to just give students an overview of the water cycle and water facts for students to know in my class. Now, this was a learner characteristic or an audiovisual technology because it showed a picture and then gave a thought to go with that picture about water. My students talk about that PowerPoint and about what that PowerPoint did to help them remember those thoughts. Integrated technologies is the last standard that these meant, and integrated technologies are ways to produce and deliver materials which encompass several forms of media under the control of a computer. Integrated technologies are typical hypermedia environments which allow for A, various levels of learner control, B, high levels of interactivity, and C, the creation of integrated audio, video, and graphic environments. Examples include hypermedia authoring and telecommunication tools such as electronic mail and the World Wide Web. Well, the playlist met these because it was very interactive for the students. They watched the videos, they wrote down answers to questions in the description, and they were able to have student direction. If they understood it, they didn't have to watch the video. There was a lot of control in that playlist. They could go back and rewatch something if they understood it. They could fast forward if they didn't understand, they fast forwarded if they needed less information. The PowerPoint movie was a highly interactive activity for the kids. They were able to see the pictures and the images. And it was more than just watching that. It was how I integrated it in my classroom. The students talk about how they saw those images, they learned the water facts, and then I had them talk about what image would you have used to do this water fact. So it's more than just having a technology, it's integrating it effectively in the class. The interactive video and storyboard was definitely controlling for the student. They were able to look at the video, and although that was created for other teachers, they are the student of that video. So the other teachers are able to choose what they want to learn about. There's a lot of control in having that interactive video. Also, the creation of the integrated audio and video and graphic environments, it allows for highly engaging lessons, and the students really enjoy it. So these are my final thoughts on the education, YouTube and education class, and thank you for your time.